Oh,
I was
right.
just like, all right then.
How
I guess we're simping today.
I guess what we're doing today is cooking and cleaning for our man.
And honestly, I hate heterosexuality with a passion, but I get it. I do. I get why the girlies are birds. I get it.
Hello, lovers, and welcome back to the part 3 of 4, wow, terrible English, of the spooky special on Starring Cupid, starring me. It is your boy, the Madarix, nothing more, nothing less, from the east, not the west, Dracula, Hoyobik, and once again, we are here discussing the third installment of our special. We're coming to you alive on the eve of the day called Halloween. I know a lot of you probably have been invited or are attending very dress-up-y events, very Halloween-esque events during this time, into the week, going into the weekend. And guys, if you're doing that, I hope you have a wonderful time. I hope you post lots of pictures of your costumes, and I hope you have the Halloween experience we all wish to have. I'm personally going to be keeping it a one-man party in Casa de Amigos. We're probably going to just hang out, maybe watch a spooky movie or two, I've been having fun dressing up as characters though, I'm not gonna lie. It's really fun to just get into the spirit of it, and also it feels like you're getting in touch with things that you used to love as a child or you still currently love. It's a real shame that we haven't normalized this Halloween situation here. Though, guys, we're still too far gone for trick-or-treating. I don't think South Africa will ever get to a point where trick-or-treating will be fine. And that's sad on a safety level. But we can dress up, definitely. We can have parties, definitely. We can do all of that. And that's great too. Anyway, back to the subject at hand, what we're talking about today, and what we will be talking about is this new spooky sci-fi. Yeah, I'm saying these words funny, but it's hard to really pin down this show, this wonderful show. It's a lot of things, but with it being a lot of things, what makes it so beautiful is that it's this sci-fi-esque show with black people at the center of it, with a black couple at the center of it. Today we will be looking at Letitia Lewis and Mr. Atticus Freeman from HBO's Lovecraft Country. This show, it came as a surprise to me because I remember last year it was kind of hinted at. I remember they were mentioning, oh, this person is going to work on the adaptation of this book. It's coming to HBO. And I was like, okay, cool, I guess. I heard there was going to be black people, and I was like, okay, that's great. But all the time when it was being advertised, there wasn't really a lot of information on what the show was about, and I had no information on the book whatsoever. Then I saw the first episode and I completely understood that it's just one of those shows you personally have to see yourself. Oh my goodness, it deals with so much, and there's so much that happens from episode to episode, and it's maybe 50 minutes plus each episode. So it's a lot to go through. You really can't condense a show like this, but I do believe that it makes for great television, and it has black people at the forefront. They are the main characters, and that's always a wonderful thing to celebrate. In light of this being such a good, great, special show, I thought it would be great to invite a guest, and not just a guest. Like, she had to be here. It wouldn't be right of me to speak about this show and not invite her. It would be criminal. We are speaking of none other than Koketso, the host of the Clueless 20s podcast and a friend of the show. Koketso is very vocal online about the TV shows and the movies she watches. She also mentions what she's currently watching on her podcast and how she feels about those shows. It sometimes feels like she's watched everything under the sun, and she'll be talking about a series and I'll be like, how? When did you find the time? There's no show that I think she hasn't seen. Naturally, I had to bring her on for this couple. I had to bring her on for this show. She's part of the reason why I got into it in the beginning. So yeah, before we get into that part of the show, the analysis and speaking to Koketso, we have to look more into like the background and the production of the show before we get to the gift that is Leti and Tic. The show was created by Misha Green in 2020. Ms. Green has directed a few episodes as well. She's also on the writing team for the show. In the past, Misha has written for shows like Underground, Spartacus, Heroes, guys, remember Heroes? And Sons of Anarchy. She's clearly equipped to handle a show like this, judging from these past credits, and I think she does a really great job with this show. The show is adapted from books by Matt Ruff of the same name. I have not read them, obviously. I have no access to them, so I cannot compare. However, I would like to believe that what you get in the books is kind of reflected in the show, and even if it's not, I'm sorry to like fans of the book, but this is still a very quality show. I wouldn't mind if it didn't follow the book's like story to the T. There are big names in this show. We have Mr. J.J. Abrams as an executive producer. We have Jordan Peele as an executive producer. I wanted to mention him because it's been like 4 or 5 years now. Everything he has been putting his hands on or like kind of been involved in has been very spooky season appropriate. We're looking at things like Get Out, Us, the latest Candyman that's about to come out. Like, it feels good that someone with that kind of resume is here, you know what I mean? You've heard me rave about the visuals on a lot of past episodes. You've heard me talk about how visually stunning things are. This show, I truly mean it. I truly mean it when I say visually stunning. Every frame was a beauty. And to add on to like the beauty of just like the shots, it kind of goes hand in hand with how good the visual effects are. Sometimes they fuck it up when it's like a big shot, like maybe when they're showing like a castle, or maybe they're trying to show like something huge happening. Sometimes I'm like, effects could be better. But the visual effects that we see, that like practical or like the very small scale visuals, the gory visuals, they're very, very well done and well shot. The music is perfect for what's happening, or sometimes it's not even music, and I'll talk about it later. But yeah, when there's music, it always matches what the action is I almost said what the action is actioning. Imagine. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I really love the choices of music. I do. And what I love most of all, with all the things that I've kind of mentioned, is that there was just black people involved in everything, from top person creators, the writers, the directors, to music. Like, guys, Raphael Sadiq is part of the music department. That's how black this show is. And I like the fact that it's not just black people in the production. I'm like, those are celebratory as well. Like, I'll celebrate those things, those projects as well. With this one, it's just beautiful black people working on a big budget science fiction series. We don't get a lot of that. We really don't. And I feel like when we do get them, we need to, I say we, sorry, I need to talk about it. I need to mention it so you guys can hear the desperation of, I want more things like this. Like, regardless of whether or not you enjoyed this show, this is wonderful. The fact that black people are so heavily involved in such a good, critically acclaimed show. It's just great. Love it. Which is a perfect segue to our lovely cast portraying our lovely leading lady, Letitia Lewis. We have Janae Smollett. She, her career, she has been in the industry for a very, very long time. Since I was small, since she was small. My goodness, she's been working. We know her from projects such as Birds of Prey, The Great Debaters, Roll Bounds, The Twilight Zone, and just many more. Think about this. She's been a child actor, and now I think she's well into like her 30s. She's been working. She's been a working girl. Loved her in this show. Really, really did. I didn't think she would do badly, but I was very impressed by her. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Moving on through to our protagonist. It's Mr. Jonathan Majors as Atticus Freeman. I'm going to take a breath. I'm just going to take a moment. I'm just gonna go, and then we're gonna go, because guys, I won't lie. Before this, I didn't know of him in anything else. I know that he was in things. It's just like maybe I was missing out, maybe I wasn't looking, and you know what? My bad. I apologize, because wow, what a grown man. I can't explain what I mean by that. You just wait until we get to the episode where we're discussing. We elaborate on my point. But all I want to say is, what a grown man. Acting wise, lovely in this, wonderful in this. I know he is also in The Five Bloods, which I've been meaning to watch, and I will get to it now, because this show really motivated me to kind of follow his career closely, which is always great. Honorable mentions. Where do I begin? This is like the tightest cast of black people I've ever seen. Okay, not ever, but you know, there's a lot of them in this, and they're really great. We have legends, pure legends of the game, like Connie B. Vance, Ajanu Ellis, Michael K. Williams, the fantastic Wanmi Musaku is here. I was just truly impressed by all of them. I was just I was rooting for them throughout, even when some people were making bad decisions or were doing the wrong things. I was rooting for them because they're really good in this. Wow. There's also Abby Lee and Jordan Patrick Smith, who portray Christina and William respectfully. Brilliant anti-heroes, scary as hell from time to time, and I think that comes from them doing their job very well, that I was terrified of them, you know. And then how can I forget Jamie Chung? Killed it as Gia. I think her solo episode, I think it is great. I think it might be my favorite, only slightly rivaled by the episode where we find out about Hippolyta. But still, she's great, she's amazing. Loved her in this. Now, if you have never seen this show, you probably should. It's there's no reason not to. I mean, genre twisting sci-fi show with black leads and big budgets. What's not to like? What are you missing? If you have indeed watched the show and finished it, but you cannot recall what happens, guys, it's a bit unlikely. The show ended about 2 weeks ago. It's very hard to forget. But here is a summary. A man living in the 1950s is on a mission to find his missing father. Along the way, there are mystical and horrific obstacles that arise as the man learns more about his lineage. Yeah, that's as much as I can say without completely spoiling everything. But as soon as you watch the first episode, it'll become clearer what is happening. Yeah, as always, there will be spoilers ahead because it's really hard to not spoil some parts. With a show like this, you gotta break some eggs to make an omelette. I'm glad that I got the chance to talk about this and look into this with someone who is also a huge fan. I apologize greatly that we have like a little audio glitch at best. There's like a kind of like an echo at some point or throughout, I'm not sure, but I promise it is worth it to like listen to what we have to say. I promise you it's worth listening to just like a little bit of an echo. So without further ado, let's get it cracking, let's get it on. This is Leti and Tic with Koketso.
Great. Hi,
Welcome to the podcast.
thank you so much.
Thank you for giving us your time. I know you're a busy gal, and this thing isn't even going to be done until the following week. So thank you. I obviously had to bring you on for this. Obviously, because like you kind of put me on, and also like Showmax constantly reminding me that this show is available. But you not only put me on, but you have been a big fan of the show throughout the first season. Like, you said a lot about it online, you've said a lot about it on your podcast. It's safe to say you do enjoy it.
I mean, listen, I'm glad that my agenda worked because I lit up candles. I'm like, guys, let Summer watch the show, please. The universe, come on, set her straight to it.
Yeah,
so I'm glad you enjoyed it.
What do you like so much about it?
This is gonna sound so cliche, okay? But I love horror and science fiction genres anyway. But having black people in it, that's what I love about it. And
yeah, that part.
that part especially, because honestly, I mean, again, with the genre that I like watching, it's always, oh my god, it's always white people, and I'm like, come on guys, you're telling me in space there are no Negroes. Come on.
You mean to tell
So
me
I
in the
and
world of like science fiction, there aren't black people?
I like even in fact, when there is a black person, they're always a side character. And you know what? I wouldn't mind a black side character. They're not even good side characters. They don't give them like a good story. These characters never develop, and it's like, come on, guys, come on. So I really appreciated that there's black people in it, and it's genuinely written so well. So even if they cast like a white person or an Asian, it would have still been a good show. Yeah, but I mean, obviously, the time period and the civil rights movement and everything, that was important. That's why it was necessary for black people to be involved, because it really would have been weird if it was any other race. So that's what I like about it. Oof.
Yeah, it's great. It's a wonderful show. I was hooked from episode 1. To talk about this couple, though, I kind of have to look away from the really like important big stuff that happens, because it's great. The science fiction part of it is great, and it's amazing and makes the story great. But we do have this couple that we are introduced to. It's Leti and Atticus. Yeah.
Where do we start?
Where does one begin? Like, so I was saying this to Sam, to our producer, when I was talking about this. It's difficult to try and describe all the wild stuff that goes on in the series. Like, you think that one thing is the major problem, or the major, like, you think something is the weirdest thing you will see in the entire show, and then something weirder happens. Like, a lot happens. These two people are dealing with a lot all the time, back to back, but somehow we still get to see their relationship be a relationship. It's not like a side thing. It's not like a side narrative. We get the love and we get the action. I was saying, with Atticus and Leti, we kind of get to see the love and we get to see the action of everything. Do you think that as a pairing, like as a romantic pairing, do you think that Leti and Atticus are a good team?
I do, because I think whenever it's been proven that every time like they put aside their nonsense and they work together, things really get done. You see it when they were running away from those little vampire creatures in the first episode, when they were deciding who was going to go get the car and the flares. You saw it with the treasure hunt, and you saw it again with the last episode. You know, she said, I mean, she knew that he was gonna kick the bucket. So and obviously they planned it all together, and I really appreciated that. So I do think they make a good couple. I think they make a great team. When they push aside all of their bickering, and I mean very necessary bickering, but when they do need to get things done and they focus on it, it happens. So I think they make a great team.
I agree with you. I think they need each other more than they think they do most times. I think Leti is the one that has the most difficult time with accepting the fact that sometimes she will need him around.
Oh yeah, 100%. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad. And I love that she's an independent, assertive person, but I see that she struggles a lot with asking people for help, and just be like, oh, okay, no, I actually need this one specific man to come and help me.
And I don't think she can get around it, because this is not the type of thing you kind of do alone. What I liked about the series is that they weren't doing it alone. No one was trying to be like a hero, and there were times when they were going through individual troubles, but things would get fixed when they tried to do it together. So we got Leti as independent, but we also see that she does need Atticus specifically from time to time.
Yeah, 100%.
I will be honest though, when I did first watch it, I thought that Atticus was not the kind of man that Letty would go for. Like,
Oh my god.
I was like, bro, what are you doing with this man? Like, this man, this mild mannered, very just like sweethearted man. It felt very opposites attractive. And
Yeah. Oh yes.
I always talk about how I feel about that trope.
I don't mind it when it's done right. Then it works out okay. But sometimes it's so predictable.
It really is.
Like, and more often than not, a lot of people gravitate towards people that are exactly like them. So,
yeah.
I don't even know why the opposite attracting similar trope, because it really happens so often. It honestly really happens.
You mentioned how you are big into this genre, and I think one of the things I noticed is that usually in shows or movies within this genre, or like kind of like adjacent to it, if there is a love interest like Leti, like a character like Leti, that's kind of the love interest to like the big protagonist of the thing, they kind of I wanna say they wanna give them a love interest that's kind of introverted, kind of there just to, you can clearly see that this character is here to uplift our protagonist. That's just a thing you see in sci-fi. Do you think that by making Leti and Atticus kind of different, do you think it added or it took away from the story? And how do you feel about when romantic pairings do that thing in different shows and movies in science fiction?
Okay, I'm just gonna start with the latter. When it comes to other shows, again, it's never done right. I don't know if it's because I love the show and I love the characters. I mean, that does help that I love the characters, but it works with Atticus and Leti, because Leti is obviously, she's the most assertive one. She's the boss girl and everything. But what I also like about Tic is that, okay, let me say this. In terms of personality, Letty's the one that is more assertive and more daring and in charge. But physically speaking, Tic is the one that is like, oh no, I've got to do this. I'm the one that picks up, I'm the one that fights. So, there are a lot of things similar. Like, what is different to Leti might be the same to Atticus. So I think that works out fine with the specific pairing. It adds to the to that whole scenario where the whole opposite attracts thing happens shows. But again, it's very rare that they do it really well. I'm trying to think of a show where like the woman is the more assertive one and they pair her with a shy protagonist. I honestly can't say I've seen a show where they've done it really good, and like you can still appreciate the protagonist. And like, okay, yes, he's mild-mannered, but he can still fight for himself if need be. No, there isn't. The only person I can think of is in the DC comics. I don't know if you know of Big Barda.
No, I don't, but this sounds familiar, and I don't know why it sounds familiar.
She's like this new god. She's a new god or something like that, and she's actually like bigger and taller than Superman, and then her husband is like really short, but he's really powerful. So again, that's like the only pairing I can think of. Two characters that are opposites, but they work really well together. They work in silos, but no, generally it doesn't come out or translate so well in other shows. Yeah,
I think the most I've ever seen is what they'll do it in action movies or comedy movies, where they'll make the love interest, like they'll maybe have the personality of Leti, where it's like she's a tough woman, she kicks ass and she takes names, and then the protagonist will kind of be like this man that's kind of like the way Tic is mild-mannered but without his physicality. So they're shy and they're bumbly and they're awkward, and it makes for good comedy. I can see that, but in science fiction it just feels very I don't know, like weird. Like they don't do it well, because once you take away making fun of this thing, now it's just this odd couple.
Oh, actually, you know who I thought of, like that exact trope?
Yeah,
Natasha and Bruce from Avengers.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh.
Like, honestly, I feel like something good could have happened there, but I don't know. It just went left. I don't understand what was going on.
It started going left when it felt like they were just alluding to this thing. And then when it was a thing, it was just Bruce being nervous half the time around Natasha. And Natasha would just have this unspeakable effect. And I was like, boo, boo, give us something real. Give us something serious. What's this?
Okay, it's Natasha and Bruce, and then it's Star-Lord and Gamora. I just realized she's also like the
Oh,
badass type, and he's like the awkward guy. But again, the thing that saves him is that he can fight for himself. Like, he's been fending for himself most of his life. But I mean, it adds to that trope. I don't. Okay.
so the common denominator here, yeah. But the common denominator here is it's kind of better when the protagonist is not just some wimpy, like kind of go with the flow kind of person. You need someone that can fight their own battles, do the work, essentially.
Oh yeah, 100%. No one likes whiny men.
Oh my goodness, can you imagine?
Yeah. Like, not even. Okay, I thought of another one.
Yes.
What's that show? Wreck-It Ralph. You see that soldier, that lady from that Call of Duty game?
Yes, she pairs up with Fix-It Felix.
Exactly. But you know what? My homeboy Fix-It Felix, he knows his nonsense, Jam. I'll give him that.
He can fix it. He can fix it, and he will.
Yeah, no, I'll give. But I wasn't mad at that. I thought that was cute. I don't know.
I think that's because it goes back to the thing that we were saying, where I think in the beginning they did kind of show Felix as kind of like a mild mannered, very introverted man, and then somewhere along the movie, I think there's danger. I think that's the turning point for the lady as well, where she kind of sees him. She goes, "Oh, like there's danger," and he kind of he fixes it, obviously. When you make the male love interests have like a purpose or like a job, or like they're not just sitting around being rescued by this woman that they're in love with, I think that's what makes it good. And I don't know why science fiction is not catching up to the idea. I don't know what's happening there in the writers' rooms.
There are very few shows that actually get like the female protagonist right. Like, even when the female, like, I've just noticed with the female protagonist, like, she's the main character, she's assertive and strong. Even the guy that's like wimpy and he'll come and rescue, and it's like, that's not what would be happening in real life. If this character was real and she's as skilled as she's supposed to be, this wouldn't be happening. She'd be the one saving him. So why are you guys acting like she needed this man to come in and swoop and save her? And so unrealistic. So unrealistic.
It's so done.
It is.
I want to take a short detour. I know we've been talking about this couple and like the romance and everything. I want to take a short detour, but it will come back to what we're talking about. If people like follow us online, we are very, I want to say, open about how attracted we are to certain people, especially people in movies and television shows. Like,
I'm sorry.
We're very honest. We're not gonna lie. We're not gonna mince our words. Me and my girl Koketso, we tell people, "Hey, you see this man? This man kind of handsome."
I mean, when there's flavor, come on. It would just be a crime. It would be a crime not to point it out. It would be a crime not to point it. Listen, I remember the first thing I said about Tic was his arms.
Oh my goodness.
His arms. Ew. Come on now.
Oh my God. Mr. Jonathan Majors is just why are you that strong? What are you planning to hold up?
You know, I didn't understand why people had like choking fetishes as I got older, and now, you know, but the more you get older, the more you start realizing what it is you are attracted to. And I saw his arms, and I'm like, okay, you know what? you know what? I see it. I see the handle on my throat, and I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't.
I wasn't a person that was like, ooh, arms. I really wasn't. And then I think I first saw him before the show came out. I first saw him in like promotional shots, like in a magazine or whatever. And
oh yeah. I
just
think I
saying-
remember that photo set where he's like dressed with like a Black Panther-esque vibe.
Yes. And then I saw him there and I was like, oh, okay. And then I saw another picture, which I guess was like behind the scenes. And you know how Tic is always wearing like these tight t-shirts and like these like hugging
Yup.
jeans. And he was wearing a cowboy hat, and I was just like, okay, sorry. Oh,
I
right.
was like, all right then. I guess we're sipping today.
I guess what we're doing today is cooking and cleaning for our man.
And honestly, I hate heterosexuality with a passion, but I get it. I do. I get why the girlies are birds.
Like, I see it. Respectfully, I'm looking.
And you just, wow. Oh, another person that I find really attractive was William. Yo.
We have very strong Spirit of Tamara feelings for William.
I mean, listen, I make like macaroni when I William. I make like macaroni. I don't know, and there's nothing like I can pinpoint about him. I can't. Okay, I mean, yes.
There's nothing about him.
But it's just something.
But you know what it is? After the Christine thing, I was kind of like, okay, wait, am I attracted to William or am I attracted to this woman as William?
I think both.
I think both.
Because I'm like, you know what? I like the idea that she changes from a man to a woman. I do. There's just something, I don't know, hot about it. But I think if William was... But I think that we'll never know the original William. I mean, he's dead. But I think if Christina was just William and she couldn't like change genders, then I think I would still find William hot. The way he holds himself, he doesn't mince words. He's just like, no, bam, I want to do this with you, so meet me.
Yes. Oh my God. When he's talking to Ruby in the bar, the whole time I was like, girl, please don't go out with this man. He's dangerous. But at the same time, because I know that Ruby doesn't know about his danger. So I was like, girl, if I was you, I'd do the same thing.
Honestly, and you know what? It would have creeped me out, but I still would have found it hot, so I can't blame her. That scene where she cuts herself accidentally on the hand and he licks up her blood. I was like,
It would have gotten creepy. But I don't know if I could say that I would do it.
Because we know who William is, obviously it's like, oh no, girl, don't do it. But again, if I was Ruby and this fine man just licked up my blood, I'm like, you know what? My neck is right here if you want some more. It's literally right there staring at you.
Oh my, like, sir, just take all of me.
That's
so. This is all to say we love the heat that they're serving. Yes, I just had to mention that because we are very passionate about about good-looking people. It's not even good-looking. I think it's just attractive people deserve praise.
You know what? I can't even be mad that attractive people have a lot of privilege. Like if I was that stunning, shit,
I might also take advantage of it. I might also make people send me food. I might also get a couple of movie roles,
Exactly. And they're so and it's even worse when they're nice people and you're like, okay, you're not even gonna just try to be a douche just a little bit.
Make it difficult, okay?
Yeah. And like you said, and we were talking about deviating a bit. Chance Perdomo, come on. Whew. Yeah. And I saw that he grew his afro. Oh my goodness.
It's so cute. And like he looks like a child, but also he looks like a man. And I just wanna touch it. I personally, respectfully want to braid it. I wanna give him twists.
If he was homeless and he was only dating me just to house him, I would do it. I would thank him every time. Like, thank you for setting your beautiful eyes on me, a mere mortal. I thank you. And it's even crazy
in
that
this house we simp for transfer dollar.
I mean, it's even crazy that I think you've probably seen a picture of this person. Like, there's this guy who looks exactly like him.
Where?
This person's a trans person. And they showed like a
Wait.
couple of pictures while they were transitioning, and he looks exactly like trans.
Except
I know what you're talking
about. And he's always like posting pictures like about and I'm like, great, this is lovely, but I just want you to know that you're the most attractive person I've ever seen in my life.
I imagine being that powerful, honestly.
Oh my goodness, with that face and just
sure. Again, I understand why women are birds. I 100% understand.
I really guys. Beautiful people, they're all around us, and I can't take it. I personally cannot take it.
It's even worse. Again, it's even worse when it's like people you follow on Twitter, even if it's like people who show up on your timeline once. I'm just like, so just like that, you're going to show your face unprovoked.
You're going to disturb my day because now I have to look at you and I have to admire.
And honestly, like the bird that I am, I thirst follow. I do. I honestly
Of course.
I do.
I thirst follow more on Instagram though, because sometimes I'm like, oof, I don't want to hear your thoughts. I just want to see
no.
I understand that that's wrong, but think about it, guys. You don't need to hear everyone's thoughts.
Honestly, you don't. Sometimes there's nothing worse than following somebody and then they tweet stuff and you're like,
it's like, I didn't need to know this about you. I wish I hadn't known.
You know, like if these are the thoughts that are just swirling through your mind, or rather I just not know you at all.
Just vibes.
Oh my god. I can't.
Okay, back to what I was going to get to. We do love Mr. Atticus. We love to look at him.
100%.
We love how he is in this show. But there's kind of like I don't want to call it a hot take, but maybe a hot discussion that I feel like there were moments in the show. I know that at the end they kind of like they wrapped it up neatly and it was wonderful for their relationship. But there were moments on the show where it felt like Atticus wasn't realizing that everything that he is currently going through, like the trauma and then like the horror of everything that's happening, is also happening to Leti and like also like his family and stuff. But like he would sometimes not take it out on her, but be angry or kind of not be responsive. And she kind of has to remind him all the time, hey, I'm here. Like, I'm also going through this with you. Like, I died. So it's not just you that's bearing the brunt of this. And it sparks this conversation about how usually in Black romantic relationships, there's this thing where it feels like Black men, they think they hurt alone, and they think that they hurt as an island, and you must simply be there to nurse them. They mostly do not consider that you are hurting from maybe the same thing or a different thing, and maybe you need someone to nurse too.
I agree. I literally all I've done this entire episode is just agree with everything you're saying.
I push you on. Imagine being on someone that will be against me.
You need somebody to just butter you up the entire time. To just add on to the discussion, I think that really annoyed me as well. And it's unfair that as Black women we're the ones that have to we have to be the bigger person constantly. All the time. And you know what? I am so glad Mbali said something. Bigger person Ushonida, because listen, I am not about it anymore. I am not about it. And there was even a point when Leti was like, this is like with the treasure hunt episode when they're trying to go and unlock Titus's pages, something like that. And she was
Yeah.
she was really mad. And Montrose, Tic's dad, gave him this entire speech about how, sometimes your girlfriend or your person will be mad, but you need to keep a memory of them so that when she's done fussing, you can get back to the loving and whatever. But it's so unfair on Leti. Like you said, she died. And now she's pregnant and she's like, oh my God, I'm going to bring a child into this world and they're going to be messed up by all these white people that are literally insane. And
literally going to follow you for the rest of your life purely based on this thing.
But you know what? I'm very glad at the end they wrapped it up neatly, like you said, that, eventually Tic was like, okay, you know what? I am being a douche. Not everything is about me. My girlfriend, the mother of my child, is going through some really hectic stuff. And, on top of this, it's pregnancy. Do people understand how hard pregnancy is? Oh my God, it's a literal nightmare.
The fact that a mere period does horrible things to your uterus, I cannot imagine a human child living in my body. And people just want to impregnate people willy-nilly, and I don't understand.
Listen, just to deviate a bit, my sister's pregnant currently. She's going to 9 months, and she got mad because I'm like, you're literally hosting a parasite. That is what pregnancy is. You're hosting a parasite. There's literally no other way to describe it. It's not a beautiful thing. You get gestational diabetes, your feet get swollen. It's crazy. It truly is.
This is a thing to do with already on its own, and now you must add, I guess, like a weird cult that's growing your family for it.
Guys, I don't even understand why Tic. There was no reason for Tic to be so closed off, and he's like, yeah, no, I'll do it. I'm in charge. And every time he would constantly mess up. Even Leti was like, okay, you know what? I am going to do it because literally you're not
really resolved.
Exactly. And every skill,
I feel like
every skill that require, like every skill that Atticus has regarding magic has been because of his blood, like him understanding that native person's language. That was purely because of Titus. His ability to do magic was, but there isn't really any other than his war skills or army skills, if I can call it that. Tic doesn't really, have a Leti ran track. She was involved in the civil rights movement, so she has done a lot on her own. So that everything that she knows and does is because of her. It wasn't because of some magical connection from some white ancestor or anything like that. So that's what annoyed me about Tic. It's like, oh yeah, no, I can do everything. It's like, okay, but literally because a white man's blood runs through you. That's it. That is it.
No man, just relax. At least make it. I wanted to say that I wanted them to at least make it equal, because it's like Atticus, you can see that this woman has been through a lot just like you. Why can't you be there for her and let her be there for you? Make it a relationship, guys. Yo,
honestly, we're after Tic found out that his father was gay and he was still trying to reconcile all of that, it's like, okay, but your girl's mother literally was a neglectful mother, and at no point did they discuss Leti's father and where he went. There was never discussion about her childhood growing up. It was always about Tic. Yeah, he was abused by his father. His father is gay. His mother passed away. This and this and that. And it's like, okay, but homegirl had parents too. So,
right.
Again, not everything is about you,
man. We got snippets, I feel, of what Leti went through. The time when she was fighting with her brother, and anytime she was fighting with Ruby, you can clearly see, no, this girl's life has been hard. When she bought the house, and I thought things were going great. I thought things were going good.
Honestly, I don't want to deviate too much, but a thing that broke my heart, the thing that I'm still confused about is Ruby and Leti's relationship. At some point, I felt like Leti was trying to be a good sister, but Ruby was also like, okay, but I still feel like you're using me. It might seem different to you, but to me, it feels the same.
And she'd constantly bring up this thing about, oh, we're not actually sisters. And I'm like, that's not mean. She's trying so
She
hard. Can you
is.
not?
She is. And like, I think, I mean, Homegirl is dead now, rip. But,
You know, that remind me of that tweet where it's like, rest in peace, Auntie, the evil you have done in this. You're like, yeah, I mean, RIP to the girl or whatever.
But, and funny enough, that was like in the same episode when Ruby was like, yeah, to you it feels different, to me it feels the same. But you know what? I'm still glad that Ruby recognized that Letty was being genuine. Like, this was literally a life or death situation. And I mean, she ended up paying the price for it, so that sucks. She'll never get to see the fruits of, you know, the hard labor that she tried to put in her sister's relationship together and everything. So that's sad. Yeesh. A lot of people died in the show now that I think about it.
But like, I like shows like that. I like shows that aren't afraid to kill people that are important, because then it's like, oh, if you're not afraid to kill important people, then what's like the point? Oh wait, actually, before we end this off, because we're like running on the 30-minute mark. I know I don't do this with guests often, but you were so into the show and like integral in me watching it. I wanted to give you the opportunity to tell me a like and a dislike you have for the show, like away from the couple. We're done with the couple.
Okay. I dislike how little we saw of William. Honestly, I did. No. That I dislike that, and I dislike Hippolyta as well. Like her, like she was supposed to be gone for a short while. Like, where was she in that week that she was missing?
There's no like. They don't try to tell us to answer these questions
exactly,
for us
and
about
I mean, they could easily end the show on one season, but you know, would be left with more questions than answers. But if there is a season 2, I hope they'll finally answer that. And then what I really loved about the show, so corny, but I really did love Leti and Tic's relationship. I did. I thought it was so cute.
For all the reasons you said and more, they are.
Honestly, they are my true OTP.
Thank you so much
for having me. I can't believe I was finally on the show.
I remember when I was teaching you about how, girl, I will find an episode that needs you, and that's literally what I was doing the whole time. I was just like, no, I can't just bring you on for any old thing.
And honestly, when I was listening to the previous episode, we were talking about previous films and shows, I was like, oh my god, I could literally talk about all of these things.
So thank you so much for being with us. I will let the lovers know where they can find you.
Thank you so much for having me, Sama.
On Twitter. And guys, if you love Koketso here, you must listen to a podcast. It feels like I'm being coached through life at the same time as I'm just enjoying a podcast. Maybe it's because everything you're saying, I'm like, oh my god, same.
Oh, that is so sweet. I have this like grin on my face that looks so stupid. Thank you.
Okay, bye. Likes and dislikes time. Yeah, there was nearly nothing to report back on because I nearly didn't finish this whole show. It wasn't my fault. I really did want to finish it. The intention was there from all of us to finish it. It's just, yeah, no, guys, we had problems after problems, and then school was also a problem. If we have to blame one person, it has to be Telkom. However, I managed to finish it, and here are my likes and dislikes. Likes. I really like the music. I touched on it earlier, but I need people to understand how much I like the music. Usually, if a show is historical and it's like set in a different time period, the showrunners will use music from that time period throughout the series. So like if a show is set in the 30s, we were gonna be listening to 30s music half the time. And I get it, guys. It's fair. I totally understand why, for like to set the mood, to set the scene. However, in this show, they used songs sometimes that were very modern, and it would just fit perfectly. There were even moments where, like I said earlier, that it wasn't music, it was spoken word or like poetry or clips from speeches, and they all they just all did whatever scene they were used in justice. Like, aside from being just different from everyone else, it was a lovely personal touch to fit what was happening in the show. It went well, like I said, it went well with everything that was going on in terms of like their lives, and also historically at that time. It didn't matter the time. It didn't matter what time period the music was made, and I appreciate that. I mean, I do wish more shows would do things like this, but I understand that appropriate music is needed. I do see why it's needed, but just like imagine seeing someone in like 1950s clothing, and they're just like walking down the street and there's just trap music playing as they walk. I think it could work. I think it could work for other people as well, for other shows, for other movies as well. And we should try it out. But anyway, do you? I'm a let Lovecraft Country do them. And also, I'm making it seem like they never played time appropriate music. They had their fair share of like the jazz and the blues of the time, which I would never mind because I love jazz and blues. So all of this to say, wonderful music. Needless to say, I enjoyed the visuals. I said that I could talk about the visuals forever. It's really just glorious half the time. And one of the things that make it so glorious, or the things that make me appreciate it so much, is that each shot is very well illuminated. There's no good reason for this. I just really like good lighting. I think well lit scenes in movies are so great, so useful to us that want to be able to see what is happening. Like, I understand we're probably in like a forest or whatever, but there are ways you can make people show up, you know? Even when there was like the explicit violence was being shown, I didn't really want to look away, because I'm marveling at how wonderful it looks. I was just very impressed off the time, and that's a lot coming from me, the coward, you know. I think every frame looks like a good picture, and that's not important for shows, but I do appreciate it when shows do this. I do appreciate when they take the time to make everything look great. I like how the story unfolds. At first, I'm not gonna lie, it irritated me, but I do like how it doesn't, usually narratives like this, they could have been chronological, or they could have kind of been from the perspective of Atticus only, but not English. I enjoy the fact that they decided to do it the way that they did it. It made me want to get to the bottom of what the show is wanted me to. It made me want to find out more, like stay focused and stay in this. I especially liked the storyline following Hippolyta and Gia, and like the side episodes, so to speak, were very good. And also Christine's story is wild, but yes, love that. Dislikes. This is such a okay in thrillers and horrors. Well, in all films and things, but we're given we're given like cool and hot frames throughout the entire thing. The hot frames, or kind of like the frames, the parts where things are happening, are most likely where the editors will add their jump scares, or they'll add like the scary shit unfolding. They'll usually put it in like the hot frames. And usually the way they structure it is you put cold frames right before something hectic and hot happens. So there's kind of like that calm before the storm. It's them preparing you as the viewer for what is about to happen. It's what I use to kind of prepare myself for the scary shit that's about to happen. Um, by the way, if I'm using the wrong terminology or like the wrong way of explaining this, please forgive me for this blasphemy. I am not in any way a student of this. I am just talking out of my neck right now. As I say, with these series, there aren't really any indicators that scary shit is about to pop off. there's no coldness. Things will be going fine, then the music will pick up, and sometimes the music picks up for good things, and you will just scary shit. And then you'll see like this faceless monster, and then they'll show you nothing after that. And then they'll show you decapitation after that. And from the diary of a cowardly girl, I'd like some foreshadowing, or I'd like some kind of calm before the storm, is all I'm asking for. Maybe they'll just say I should stop watching this, but I can't, so loser takes all. I don't like how every episode almost needed deciphering. It's not new to me, and most times when I watch an HBO show with friends, there's going to be like a lot of post-episode discussions. Obviously, not all of them. Like some of them are very easy to like understand. They're quite explanatory, but some things you need to talk more about. And I think it is good to talk about what you're consuming in that sense, especially if you're confused by anything, because confusion might be the thing stopping you from liking something. I understand that talking about shows is good. I would, however, like to watch an episode and completely understand what just happened. You know what I mean? I just want to watch something for it to finish, and I'll be like, oh, that's that. Lastly, on a pettier note, it's not even really a thing that I can complain about. I'm mad my man George died so soon. Oh, it was so sad. I know that there was an intention behind it, and it did something to motivate Atticus through the story. I get it. I truly understand maybe why it had to happen, but why him? He was so good. He was such a great uncle until we found out why. It just felt like he added so much to the story, and then he was just taken away from us. And I don't know, man. I think I'm touched. But there's a lot in store for season 2, if there is a season 2 that will still happen. A lot can happen, a lot can change. Hey, but I asked myself this: where can we go from here? Like, this show went to heights I didn't think it could go, and then it came back down, and then go back up there. Like, guys, at some point you have to sit back and ask yourself, what the fuck is higher than the top floor? We've reached the end of the show. Once again, before we end off, a massive, huge thank you to Koketso for being with us and joining us and talking to us. I had a really lovely time. I really wish that I could conduct like live interviews. Uh, this thing of having to record online, just I want you guys like in the studio. I want to talk to people, but maybe that's just wishful thinking. Maybe that's just cabin fever speaking. But we have to move. I know, I recall that I said that I wouldn't do any kind of, battles for this series because I was complaining about how long they took. But in this show, there's like a chock full of romantic pairings, and they're they're worth talking about. There's married couples, there's not so married couples, there's couples that only happen after someone takes a potion. I It felt wrong for me to just not look into them, especially because I wanted to get your feelings about a few of them. Maybe kind of rank them, see how you feel about these couples, because they're worth looking at. We're of course talking about Miss Hapalada and Mr. George. Lovely, lovely, lovely married couple there. We have Ruby and William slash Christina, or like I don't know about this one, but also I'm not fully against it. And then last but not least, it's Gia and Tic. And now I know that there's no way we're ever gonna get Gia and Tic back together, and one could even argue that what we saw during Gia's episode was enough. And I can live with that, guys. I really can live with them not being together. I just wanted to hear how people feel about them, because I have feelings about them. I think Tic was very cute when he was with Gia. I don't know why that energy was not extended to Leti. Maybe I haven't seen it. Who knows? But so yeah, if you have any feelings, like I have feelings, you can add us on Twitter at StarringCupid. You can DM us on Twitter at StarringCupid. You can DM us on Tumblr at StarringCupid Podcast. Hey, why don't you just shoot us an email? I cannot stress this enough. We want to hear from you. We are an episode away from wrapping the spooky special. I am excited about this next round, like you guys will not understand. Again, have a happy eve of Halloween. Have a lovely weekend if you're going to Halloween events this weekend. Be safe, be lovely, be spooky.